Unions are an example of grassroots democracy in action. The American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME, represents 1.6 million public employees and retirees and is the largest union representing public employees in the United States. AFSCME represents 15,000 New Mexico public employees. New Mexico's AFSCME Council 18 has added a dozen locals and brought collective bargaining rights to hundreds of New Mexico workers over the last 5 years. Here are some stories from AFSCME members serving their fellow New Mexicans.
I've been working at Solid Waste now for a little over 2 years. My job is to keep my driver and his vehicle safe when backing into or out of streets, school zones, and other stuff like that. I'm out there every day. I'm out there early in the morning. A lot of people say, bright and early. I call it dark and early. I'm out there so early. The trucks that we work on, that's one thing. I mean, it's a huge piece of equipment. It's a deadly piece of equipment. And to know that I can, as my job as a laborer, to get out and direct traffic and, stop these people or us from damaging or hurting someone is a good feeling too, just to know that we can work in the public and still be safe. We've made a lot of progress. We've, for the working class, basically, for everyday people like us that have to wake up every morning and put the boots on and do what we do. It's important. AFSCME has shown me a ton of progress. I never knew a lot about a union until I actually came and seen it for myself.
The history of our local has a beginning in 1970. There was actually a wildcat strike with the employees due to working conditions in the solid waste department, where people were being injured. Some people lost their lives. At that point, the employees banded together and they got in with AFSCME at the time, and they were able to conduct a strike, which was considered illegal at the time. They were actually charged. They ended up in hearings in Washington, and for this strike that they did that was illegal. They were successful in it. At that point, they created a bargaining unit. The city of Albuquerque had to create an ordinance for bargaining with the employees so that they could actually sit at the table to being equal with the city of Albuquerque management, mayor, city council, to bargain wages and other working conditions for the employees.
An unsafe working environment, especially working in high-speed traffic.
And also the state of New Mexico has a state rail inspector, which is me, and I'm in charge of over 3,746 miles of railroad within the state of New Mexico, which involves the BNSF, the Union Pacific, the New Mexico Rail Runner, Southern New Mexico Railroad, Texas New Mexico Railroad, and the Escalante and the Cruz and Toltec.
Range master is basically, I'm a firearms instructor. I'm in charge of all types of shooting events. My major role is safety.
I think there's a lot of politicians that pass laws to feather their own bed and to maybe help their own personal business. But in the public sector, they forget about the job of public services. It's to provide care and to provide services that the citizens rely upon. And somehow they think that they can take from that. It's a hypocrisy that a lot of politicians don't really think about.
My supervisor, the director of a federally funded program, was just not being, I didn't feel that she was really caring about the program, and it got to the point where, we got into a discussion where she said, well, you think you're the director, and I said, well, somebody has to care about our program, our parents, our students. And so at that point, I said, we need mediation. And I was just with that said that I wanted my local representative present was all that it took for them to understand how serious I was. And so because of the union being there, that's what helped them understand where I was coming from, my side of the story.
We just recently got body armor for all our officers in the bargaining. Now we're completely in compliance with body armor. AFSCME had a big part in getting that through the city council and having it voted on. I think the officers feel safer because of the body armor.
The challenges that the main one is understaffing. You know, just a vicious cycle, and understaffing, low staffing, new staff. It's just the main issue is staff.
I guess the most challenging one right at the moment is staffing. Not having the funds to keep our staff, which then hinders the ability of the staff that are there to do their job.
Having to do 24-hour shifts. That is a challenge for me and most of the officers because it gets very tiring, you know, and most of us commute.
Just whatever they wanted to do, they did, and there was no recourse for them.
We just needed that backbone. We needed that support behind us. There's a lot of retaliation, a lot of handpicking, and it just needed to change. We needed that positive change, and just in the environment as a whole. We got behind each other and kept pushing. My lieutenant went from lieutenant to custodian to just unemployed. He lost his job, and if anyone that I've learned from in that facility, it's that man. And it just kind of, he affects a lot of us in a really positive way, and it just made it so much easier to get behind him and keep pushing through whatever we had to push through. Just within this short process, the environment is completely different. You know, we had a lot of changes at first, a lot of big losses. Now it's comfortable. You can feel the change.
AFSCME is a powerful united family which determines its objectives through discussion and the votes of its local members. They support one another with solidarity against trickle-down economics and divide and conquer tactics. AFSCME members have an even stronger voice when other unions join in solidarity. Union solidarity is the first and best protection for workers and families who are under constant assault by economic and political pressure. Join and participate. Solidarity is power.